Hi, I'm Beetle. Wha- What? So, I wanted to make a quick one. Queen's Gambit. That's actually pretty good. I mean, I've just been watching like, what, 2 episodes, but I'm already so hooked on it. It felt so iconic that an image quickly popped up in my head, and I felt I had to draw this. Like, I have to drop everything I'm doing and start drawing this. Hey, wanna join the fun? Hit subscribe and become a grub. Wait, you're in the game too? What? I started out the series thinking that it was a movie, so I was quite surprised when I actually saw that it was a miniseries, but something felt really curious to me just before watching the series, and that was that I was wondering, like, wait, is this a real story? It was a weird thought, but the setting and the idea feels very possible. Plausible? Anyways, but at the same time, I did doubt myself because, well, I thought, wouldn't this be something that I would have heard of already? And yes, when I watched the first episode, it was clear to me that it was fiction, but surprisingly, it did feel very real. And I really did just enjoy so much the way they depict the character of Elizabeth Harmon. Now, I'm not giving any spoilers, but I will just state some simple thoughts about the series and some things that I found interesting. I really did find it amazing how well they portrayed a good and strong female lead. They had really great opportunities to show some big achievements and even some tough failures, and that to me was, that was really impressive. And even if it turned out to be fiction, the characters still felt really based on reality, because at the same time, the theme of chess really helped further that. Everyone was affected by their decisions and their surroundings. That all felt really great. Whenever I watch a show, it's very common for me to find myself trying to predict the outcomes of any problems presented in the narrative. But even then, with the structure of the show, they actually surprised me at times by showing the things in a different order than what I expected. So that was a thing that I didn't know I would enjoy, but I ended up enjoying a lot. So yeah, I gotta say, I didn't know I was gonna end up this hooked to the show, and this was just out of selecting a show at random. I thought I'd watch it, but I didn't know I would be this hooked on it, and well, I was super inspired to make this video happen, so I started working on it as soon as I could. So, on the actor Anya Taylor-Joy. It was such a fun thing to depict the actor of the show, Anya Taylor-Joy, starring as Elizabeth Harmon. I was thinking about it, and I have seen her in some cool projects before, so I wondered. I thought, which was the first movie I saw of her? Get it? Which was the first movie I saw her in? No? Not a good one? Okay, moving on. Then, I saw her in Split, and I'm kinda split on if I like her better in that one or in this new project. Okay, I'll stop. But for real, I did enjoy that movie quite a lot, and I mean Split, and I remember thinking she had really, really pretty facial features, especially her eyes. I actually did not remember she was the one in the witch movie. But now, finally, on Queen's Gambit, I absolutely loved all the styles that they gave to her. They really complimented her so well, even if they're not all the most conventional ones. Like those mid-forehead bangs, they're just the best, and I think every style that she has in the show really looks awesome. Especially, I wanted to take advantage of this and show a great emphasis on my drawing. and using her features. Like the way they show the long neck, even though I exaggerated due to an art style decision, I wanted to do things like that, and especially just the eyes. She has a set of very beautiful deer-like eyes that are just really cute and captivating. Such a great feature, even more so because I think they're quite peculiar and, dare I say, eye-catching? Okay, I mean, I cracked myself up. Leave me alone. I'm sorry. That was the last one. Does it even work as a pun? Okay, really, I just wanted to say that her eyes are pretty, and it was a pleasure just trying to capture that. I wanted to share some of my perspective on chess, and when thinking about the topic, and I mean chess, it has always been a wonder to me, and never have I ever learned a single thing about it. I mean, it feels so intriguing. It has always been very intriguing for me. And I even have some friends that used to compete. So it was fun going to the events and cheering on, even if I knew near to nothing about how it's played. So when I watched the series, it really made me wonder on real world facts about chess. That got me thinking, and I wondered if there was an actual algorithm to win chess every time. But then I also remembered that there was that one big time a computer finally beat a chess, I think, pro player a long time ago. So I have to think that there is a way you could technically win chess every time. That simple detail just makes everything so interesting to me because it changes the way that I see things. It's funny to me. Normally, you would feel it would be very based on strategy, so you would know the moves and then you could win every time. But then, how would you win if the other person knew about all that too? With that logic, I was just running ideas through my head on how other games work. Most games do work on reflex, so that seems a little bit different. But if you think about it, it's all about knowing what areas of your opponent are vulnerabilities. And when that word just popped in my head, I knew it. It's just knowing your possibilities, gaining strength from the weakness of your opponent. It's just like every other sport. Now, it makes sense why it's considered a sport. Then it all makes sense again. It's just like any other game. I just feel that the setup makes it more possible to think that there's another way to beat your opponent because you have that quote unquote time to think about it. Just very interesting. And even with this, I think chess would feel like not the normal thing to be as popular. Before this, there was this thing on Twitch, like I feel it got really popular playing chess on Twitch. I wonder what it is about it. I think the strategy is an aspect. You know, there's a build up when watching players think about it. I think it's fun, but still very intriguing to think about it, like why it gains time and time again some new popularity. And to be fair, it does deserve it, so props to chess. And I say it again, all of this, of course, comes from a non-chess player. I'm just analyzing the game for fun. At least I think it's a fun way of saying things, I guess. Now, to explain all my reasoning behind the drawing. So, when I first thought about this, I had an idea of the way the pose would work, and I even took a picture to reference that same idea. And while it looks okay, I still feel sometimes I should be pushing the shapes and the closeness of the image a lot more. I would just maybe say that the foreshortening fell short. For the detail. When it comes to detail, it is not the first time that this has happened to me, but I do feel that at first I really tried to give it lots of detail when coloring and shading, but to be honest, somehow it really didn't come out right. At least not how I wanted it to. So, even if I spent a good time on it, I sadly decided to scrap it. I mean, it's not sad per se, because when I chose to dial back all that detail and just keep it with a simpler color palette, I think the end result did work a lot better with the overall idea. Still, this is not trying to compare detailed versus simple drawings. It is just about seeing what works for you at the time. Sometimes that also means starting over, which is okay too. Maybe it takes a little longer. You shouldn't worry about time, because in the end, that only means you spend a good time drawing and practicing and experimenting, which is all something that is good. And honestly, that also reminds me about something that has happened to me so many times when editing videos, and that is basically losing all the video progress, and that does suck at times. But even when I do lose all of that, in the end I actually get to the end result a lot quicker, and I really do believe that's why that experience is great. It lets you single out the mistakes a lot faster, and I really think it does end up being a lot better because you have that experience, and after doing that first draft you now know how to do something better. Just another way to say that don't give up even if you don't like it at first, or even if you have to redo a lot of things. It's all about doing something and enjoying what you do. Just another thing about the shading. When I started the detailed one, I don't think the issue is with the art style, more so the fact that I wasn't really focusing on one thing that I wanted to do, and that means I was just running around putting colors in, and that can work sometimes, but I just wasn't making it work enough. So that's why I did it. And just having that simpler palette let me focus more on what I wanted. So I did feel a lot more comfortable. I guess I want to practice both at some point, because it is important to have that range of possibilities and capabilities within you. And with that also comes some of my big issues when doing this drawing. As I've sometimes said before, I don't feel I'm the best at drawing humans. That is a tough one for me, because I feel when I do people, I start to struggle with showing like a good style for it. I don't think I have a set style yet, so that's a tough one for me. I sometimes bounce around between more of an anime look, sometimes I feel it looks more cartoony, and sometimes it borrows a little bit more from realistic proportions, like not really realistic, just the idea overall. But at least I did like how it ended up looking. I felt like I did a good job at showcasing what I wanted to. And then, oh wow, how difficult it was to just come up with a good background and make make it so that the background would give a lot more style to the piece. That was a tough one. I had some ideas. I thought I wanted to represent the chess board in the background, but not make it so obvious so that it detracts from the image. In the end, I did make an attempt, but I didn't feel that it was working quite as I intended. The squares weren't enough to showcase that it was inspired by the board, and I just thought the colors didn't complement it as well as I wanted to at first, because that was my initial idea. So then I actually reworked some of the background colors into a more of a from green to blue hue, and that also made me need to change the clothes because they also had a greener palette, and this was the final result. And with that, my grubs, I'm really glad you're back here. I know I'm sometimes a little bit late on making new videos. I'm trying to make the best that I can and trying to handle, real life and making videos as frequently as possible. But I just want to say thank you so much for enjoying the things I do, and I hope I can deliver even better stuff in the future. I was really just excited to make this one, and yeah, that's it. I'm glad you're here, and thank you for watching, and see you soon.